Kent's very own animation festival, Canterbury Anifest, is working on a scheme called Homegrown Talent 2008. The scheme is a 6-week project with 6 secondary schools in Canterbury. Each school has 14 young people working over 5 days. At the beginning of each week, the young people were given a brief to make their film on sense of identity or place. Each group made a short film and a small segment for this documentary. The project was funded by Canterbury City Council, Kent County Council and National Heritage Portrait of a Nation.
I think it's really important that young people learn about animation and get a chance at having a go themselves so they can find different ways of being creative and expressing themselves, and it's just lots of fun.
Extended Schools is all about extending the school day and providing different activities and expanding on the curriculum for young people. And Canterbury Anifest fits in really well with that. It's about supporting young people and giving them a diverse and varied range of activities in school, and also taking education outside the classroom and taking it into the community and working with other organisations in the community, voluntary, and in this case the university, in partnership to provide additional education opportunities for young people.
To create our animations, we use facilities at Canterbury Christ Church University.
I'm really pleased that Canterbury Christ Church University and the media department here are hosting this event, because we do an awful lot of work in film, television and animation, and I'm keen to build links with our local schools to do this work.
Simon Langton Girls Grammar School is the first of 10 schools to take part in Canterbury Anifest Homegrown Talent 2008. The project lasted 1 week, 2 days at school and 3 days at the university. We did the project with Mr Brady from school and Dan and Sean from Canterbury Christ Church University. We started by getting inspiration by watching Creature Comforts, then went down to Canterbury to do interviews with members of the public. After this we listened back to our recordings and decided what ones we wanted to use. Then we designed sets for our animations. The next stage was making the models using polystyrene block. Before applying the plasticine we rolled it out to make it easier to use, using the plasticine to create detail and colour.
The hardest thing we had to do was trying to make the models look lifelike.
After that we went to the university and went to the animation workshop where we started making the sets for our scenes. The rest of the day we started practising using the Stop Motion Pro. This gave us opportunities to practice and make mistakes. Next was the most important stage. Today we would be doing the real thing. To help us along we received dope sheets. For this you needed a lot of patience, as some clips had up to 540 frames to last only 22 seconds of film. Perhaps editing our animations was the hardest thing we had to do, but certainly the most rewarding. This experience has been great fun and a good chance to try something new.
This part of the documentary is made by the Community College Whitstable. We chose to base our animation on our local town because the type of animation we were going to use was sand. To gain inspiration for the animation, we visited the Horsebridge Community Arts Centre, where we studied various pieces of art created by local artists aged 14 to 78 years old. Another idea in our animation was about an old but true legend in which an overweight policeman became trapped in Squeeze-Gut Alley. For more inspiration, we took a short walk from the gallery to the actual alley. After the tour of the alley, we returned to the school to begin planning the storyboard. During the rather long afternoon, we came up with 13 scenes for animation, all based on a seagull flying through Whitstable. We chose a seagull because Whitstable is a seaside town. We then went to the university to start getting used to animating with sand. Many of the students found this very hard and it took a while to get used to. By the afternoon, people started to get used to animating by using sand and started to make short films. We interviewed Daniel Bright to ask him what he thought of the project.
The thing I enjoy most about the project is watching our storyboard come to life.
Finally, our finest young musician, Reese Taylor, composed an instrumental piece to accompany the animation.
Canterbury High School students have been taking part in an animation workshop run by Dan Richards and assisted by Sean Poynting. As part of the main theme of identity and sense of place, we decided to tackle the issue of stereotyping. We decided on this because many people in the class have strong views about the ways that the different age groups are represented within the media and with each other. To make our film, Dan split us up into 4 groups, with each group doing a scene at a time. Also, 2 boys from the group wrote and recorded the very same theme tune on the film Those boys were Gavin Dodd and Charlie Northbini.
The experience of making my own film was exciting because I got to learn how to use lots of different materials for animation and cooperate with lots of other students.
Yeah. As a class, we agreed on using the Big Brother format, using animals instead of people to get our message across about the elderly and the youth of today. In our project we use cut-out animation, which means you have to cut out shapes and move them a little bit at a time and take individual pictures. Gradually the pictures become a moving film.
That'd be good when it changes a few times. We can use it for this one, or we can use it for the...
See if you can spot the social stereotypes you come across daily.
14 animators set out on the epic journey of bringing to life 12 fish who swam their way to success. Led by Dan Richards and Sean Pointing, this is the documentary of how we made The Fish's Tale. The fish are made of styrofoam covered in plasticine and finally smoothed off ready for shooting. We chose 4 colours: red, green, orange and blue. The foam makes each model lightweight, making them easier to carry and move through the shots. To begin with, we practiced on smaller fish, then moved to the TV studio to practice with the real thing. After about an hour of shooting, we were then ready to move to the big outdoors. Animation is basically a series of pictures put together in sequence to create a moving image. However, the task we have undertaken has only ever been done once, animation taking place outside with the public rather than in a controlled environment such as a studio where the elements or an odd curious toddler can't ruin your shot.
Obviously team building exercise as well, more than anything, responsibilities and stuff. Also communications paramount as well, looking out for each other as well.
Luckily for us, people at the cathedral were very cooperative and allowed us to shoot in and around the famous landmark. After talking to everyone involved, I feel the week was a thorough success. On the whole, we had a lot of attention from the public and even at one point the press.
It's nice when you look back on it and you see it's working, then you kind of get it more, and it's not as tedious that way, and you can see the bigger picture.
The finished project will make up part of the city's Anifest this winter, and the man in charge is really proud of what they've achieved.
These guys have got 5 days to make a film. In that time they've got to come up with the idea, learn how to do the models, the animation and actually shoot their film.
Everyone kept very focused to pull off an experience that I would recommend to anyone and everyone. I truly feel we went to infinity and beyond.
14 young people of Barton Court Grammar School came together in making a short animation film entitled Nothing Ever Happens in Canterbury. The idea came about from our first day discussion on how our film could enable us, young people, to discover exactly what is available in Canterbury through a dramatic event taking place within our city. To make things more exciting, we planned to create creatures and animate them into each scene. We filmed in many key places around Canterbury, such as the Dane John and the Odeon Cinema. Each person within the group had to act as though they were interacting with a different animated character. The characters included King Kong, aliens, a statue coming to life, and a giant robot.
I wasn't sure what I was going to expect to start with, and I thought it was going to be quite easy, but as I found out that there's so many different parts to creating a successful animation, I realised that there's a lot to do and there's a lot of time needs to be put in, an effort to create a good animation. So it's getting quite hard, but we're still not fully into it, but I'm enjoying the challenge.
To superimpose our characters onto the live footage, we used a blue screening technique. We looked at Ray Harryhausen's work for inspiration, such as Jason and the Argonauts. To create our characters, we used armatures to make the structure as realistic as possible. The making process involved a lot of stages. Most of the creatures used an armature and a foam base to build the structure, and for the robot we used styrene board. King Kong had to be covered with fur, but the end result of each character was as effective as hoped. Each group had a separate animation rig to perform the stop-motion animation. To create a smooth moving effect on characters, we had to move them very slowly and take many frames. Through this 5-day project, we have learned many new skills in animation, media, acting and model making. The end result also promoted our message of young people don't realise how much Canterbury has to offer.
14 art and photography students from the Archbishop's School set out to make an animation based on the theme of sense of place and identity. Inspired by the Italian artist Blue Blue, we began brainstorming our ideas. We decided upon a drawn animation in a 3D space. Therefore, the film is set in a plain white corridor with a door at the end, where the drawings are on a life-size scale. We created characters that had minimal facial expressions to show their lack of identity. By using the drawings as a metaphor, the film shows the concept of young people growing into adults, their thoughts and their issues. The whole idea of the film was to have the characters trying to get through the locked door. This was to symbolise breaking through. From experimenting with plasticine in the animation room, we learnt how to use the filming equipment and Stop Motion Pro. Then we went straight on to practising drawing our characters with charcoal. After perfecting the drawings, we moved to the TV studio to start filming. We split into 2 groups with 1 wall to animate per group. The animation began to take form. One member of the group wrote and recorded a song on guitar to accompany the animation. As the drawings progressed, so did the film. We wanted to find out the opinions of our classmates, so we decided to interview them.
My favourite part has probably been seeing the previews, because it sort of makes it all worthwhile and you see where it's got you. And with Sean and Esther all together in the morning with all the music, it was really good to see sort of the finished thing.
In order to make the movement of the characters look realistic, the drawings had to be rubbed out each time and redrawn in their progressive stage of movement. This meant that 2 hours of work would equate to around 10 seconds of animation footage. However, at the end of the week, and after lots of rubbing out, the footage was all edited together, and the final version of the film was complete.
Yeah, the great thing about Homegrown Talents is I get to work with, I think overall it's about 90 young people in the Canterbury area, ranging from 11 years old all the way up to 19, working with DT students, art students, film, media students, a real wide range of creative skills, and they come onto this course and most of them haven't ever made a film or animation before, so kind of giving them the tools and them using their experiences from their subjects. We come up with lots and lots of different styles of animation, different stories, different issues, and it's a great mix of raw talent.
The thing I enjoy most about this... It's Carl, he was going... Alright, here we go.
The hardest process,
most definitely, apart from the orange one, Magidi. Magidi, oh, what a fish he is.
And the new autistic part of me has come out through this. What are you doing?
The hardest process so far has been trying to smooth out.
Do you prefer McDonald's or Burger King?
Heat or closer?
Red fish or orange fish?
What's been your favourite part?
My favourite part has been...
So it's a really good question to ask. I just need to actually put my teeth back in and give it another go, and you get a whole little bit of outtakes for you to laugh at.
Hi, I'm Margot Gomar. You may know me from such films as Wow, Gomar! I enjoy a nice glass of scotch before I start the news. You never know what's going to happen. Cheers.
Get it out, Jodie.